The first time I watched South Park, I was 6 years old, and at the time I didn't understand the episodes, but what I did understand was that it was a cartoon that said a lot of dirty words, and I thought this was the greatest thing in the world. And as I got older, I started realizing that South Park actually had a lot of valuable social commentary. And although I really enjoy South Park, there's a lot of negative public perceptions. One, that it's immature, and two, that it contributes nothing to society. And although South Park is very immature at times, they have a lot of, actually most of the time they're very immature, and their jokes are very crude, very insensitive, but they also portray very important social issues as well. And two of these issues that I'm going to talk about today are immigration and the Terry Schiavo case. South Park has an episode about immigration where instead of people coming from Mexico, they come from the future, and they come back in time and they start taking people's jobs, and because they're willing to do these jobs for very low wages. And this is because the future is a very bad place. It's very dirty. There's a lot of crime and a lot of poverty. And so these people come back in time to make a better life for themselves. And South Park does a really good job of portraying both sides. Because one of the characters, Randy, at first he thinks it's a great thing because these people are, like I said, getting away from this. They're trying to better their lives. And then he also hires one of these immigrants from the future to do a lot of his housework. So he has one of these immigrants doing housework, laundry, dishes, cooking dinner, that kind of thing. And the next day, Randy finds out that he is also losing his job. They found an immigrant from the future who knows geology, which is what Randy is. He's a geologist, and this immigrant is taking his job. And so immediately, Randy's whole viewpoint on the immigration issue just flips. He actually then becomes the spokesperson for the anti-immigration movement, which is pretty funny actually. But and I have a direct quote from the episode, and for those of you who don't know, South Park usually has, at the end of their episodes, they usually have their message like very prominently out there. And this was the message. It was, people from the future, they are just humans trying to make their lives better. However, the cold truth is that if we let them all in, it's just going to make our time crappy too. And this really just kind of says it all. And the second issue that South Park portrays very well is the Terry Schiavo case. And for those of you who don't know, that was the woman who was on life support. She was in a vegetative state, and she was kept alive on a feeding tube. And there was a lot of debate on whether they should leave the tube in or take the tube out. And South Park does a good job of showing how that this was a very intimate moment for the family, for the friends, and for everybody involved. But it also shows how the media really gave the family and the loved ones no respect during this time. And the message from this episode of South Park is, well, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. In the episode, this character right here, Kenny, he is essentially Terry Schiavo. He's on life support, a lot of debate. And this goes on for a while, but at the very end of the episode, Kenny's lawyer finds his will and testament, and what it says is, quote, "If I should ever be in a vegetative state and on life support, please, for the love of God, don't show me in that state on national television." And that just kind of sums up how somebody who is in a vegetative state, I mean, do you think they want to be shown on national television? No, of course not. And so South Park really shows how this is a very painful time for family involved. And And my second public perception about South Park is that it contributes nothing to society. And this is actually a direct quote from a Canadian judge named Lynn Cook Stanhope. And she says, South Park is a socially irreverent program that contributes nothing to society. And this just isn't true, because South Park actually challenges free speech. And in the Muslim religion, images of Muhammad are considered blasphemy. And although it's pretty insensitive for South Park to make episodes about Muhammad, they also challenge free speech while doing so, because during the episode, they don't actually show Muhammad. They actually, first, they stick him in the back of a U-Haul, and then they stick him in a bear costume, and as it turns out, in the very end of the episode, you find out that it was never Muhammad at all. It was actually Santa Claus in the back of the U-Haul and in the bear costume. And what that really makes you question is, well, okay, well, what is a depiction of Muhammad? I mean, because it wasn't actually Muhammad, you just thought it was. And the creators received a lot of death threats from this. There was actually a bombing attempt outside their studios, and South Park has a negative perception that it's immature and contributes nothing to society. And my opinion is that it portrays very important social issues and challenges free speech. And in conclusion, I have a quote from one of the creators, and he said, I would let my kids watch South Park before I'd let them watch something like Full House. I think that would make them stupid. Thanks.